October 16th of the Israeli and Palestinian territories map, also known as the Gaza-Israel War. Juzzy here, and today is another update as I take a simplified and practical approach to some of the most important happenings on the ground in this region. So we'll head over to the map, as Hamas has continued strikes into Israeli territory over the new day, but with some mixed results and some new Israeli laser defense technology being used in a world first for an active war zone. And I'll show you some footage related to that shortly on. But as for Hamas attacks in the last day, a large barrage of rockets launched from Gaza into Israel hurtled towards Ashdod for the most part there. But it was also the case for rocket firing attempts from Gaza into or near to Tel Aviv, although those attempts were seemingly neutralized. And it was noted in some instances, those rockets actually landed into the Mediterranean Sea instead, although some loud blasts were reported by locals in the region. But moving back further down to the border, as Israeli media reported a security incident of an unspecified description in Zikkim in southern Israel, so right close to the border there. Now, this could be due to short-range mortar fire from, beyond the Gaza border, but it could still, theoretically, also be one or two leftover lone Hamas gunmen, effectively stuck on the wrong side of the border as well. And thus, if it is, it could very well be from the same Hamas rush group that were instructed to kill as many innocent people as possible and get hostages as well. And we saw the Hamas massacre instructions related to that recently come to light as well. Also, here is a photo of some of the weapons recovered or confiscated from Hamas by the IDF after their brutal assault on villages near Gaza from about 2 weekends ago now, on October 7th. And as a result of all of that, the stories continue to pour in about the brutal savagery of the Hamas massacre. Now, as for some more follow-up responses from the IDF, they continued new raids on the Gaza Strip with a very specific focus on the northern, really close to the northern border, but also near to Gaza City itself, and also very notably on strikes at West Rafah, all the way to the south there that in fact borders with Egypt. Then momentarily, we'll move across to the north as Hezbollah fighters in southern Lebanon claimed an Israeli drone strike that struck the outskirts of the border town of Al-Adissa with Israel, sort of on the top, the northeastern pocket there. Now, I will note here that an Israeli military spokesman said, quote, "We have strengthened our forces on our northern borders, and we will respond firmly and forcefully to every operation against us." And he also noted that if Hezbollah fighters try to test us, the reaction will be deadly. And so, obviously, it's no coincidence that the Hezbollah fighters in the north commenced active military operations against Israel at the same time that Hamas in the southern sector commenced their actions, all in what is very likely an opportunistic moment for the Hezbollah fighters to attempt to fight in their hopeful opinion, a weakened IDF force due to their active engagements along the southern border primarily. Also note, Lebanon's foreign affairs minister, Abdullah Bo Habib, said that the Lebanese government has absolutely no control over Hezbollah despite having positive relations with them. And Hezbollah have fairly strong ties or influence and integration with the Lebanese government, although they are prominently stationed in the south of Lebanon. Then having a look at things from the political side, so Iran's National Security Committee deputy chairman warned Israel against a ground attack into Gaza, stating, quote, "Israel entering Gaza is our red line." Also today, interestingly, a Hamas representative in Iran denied the brutality in the opening hours attacks on Israel on the 7th of October, although when pressed by a journalist, the exchange was said to have become quite heated, followed by the Hamas representative appearing to change stance or switch gears, offering up the concept of regular Palestinian civilians causing the massacre instead. Then moving across, so as for Egypt, they have just stated that Palestinians can cross from the Gaza Strip into Egypt today, Monday, when the borders open, and to do so to allow humanitarian aid into Gaza as well. Although as far as I'm aware, this actually hasn't occurred as of this moment and may be delayed. Also, moving on, but Palestinian President, yes, there's a Palestinian President named Mahmoud Abbas, who stated that, quote, Hamas's actions do not represent Palestinians, referring to the Hamas massacre on the 7th. And so just for some added reference here, he actually doesn't live in the Gaza Strip. That would be quite impossible, really. But instead, he lives on the West Bank, which is where his base of operations is located out. Now, had he actually lived in the Gaza Strip, he would certainly have faced power struggles with Hamas, as the political landscape in the Palestinian regions is complex, with Fatah, so the party of Mahmoud Abbas, and Hamas often at odds. So the division of territorial control with Fatah primarily in the West Bank and Hamas in the Gaza Strip has been a significant factor in the ongoing Palestinian political discord. So over time, more and more, you can certainly start to gain a picture of everything that's happening here. As you can see that Hamas's grip on power in the Gaza Strip, which they violently overtook control of back in 2007, is of course now the Gaza controlling body for about 15 years that many groups, factions, or analysts consider to be an organization for which many now disapprove of. And of course, they do so in a way that separates them from the regular Palestinian civilians, particularly those ones in the Gaza Strip, at least certainly to some degree. Now, moving on to some IDF hardware we've just seen in this war, as most recently we've seen the first operational use of Israeli laser air defense systems, which seems to go by many names, whether it's Iron Beam as a bit of a ripoff to the Iron Dome, or Light Shield, but in any case, it's currently used to defend against attacking rockets from the Gaza side by the Hamas forces, positioned on the southern border between Israel and Gaza. Now, laser defenses are indeed an intricate and very difficult technology to wield, but in terms of its operational use, it's quoted as being 99.5% cheaper than the Iron Dome, for instance, that otherwise uses hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of for each interceptor missile. Now, although laser beams require a massive amount of power, multiple megawatts, they only need that power measured in fractions of a second. As such, so when they fire off to the sky, let's say, so as such, it's very cost effective to operate. And those lasers themselves effectively travel at the speed of light, which is advantageous against Hamas rockets, or any rockets for that matter, which are effectively thousands of times slower in speeds to the laser beams. Now, with this footage here, what you can actually see is the IDF's laser air defenses successfully intercepting Hamas rockets at the border, which the Israeli Defense Forces have stated this platform isn't even fully operational yet. But this here is clearly the future of air defenses, as they're able to locate, target, track, and take down rockets, missiles, drones, mortar fire, and even ATGM, so anti-tank guided missile fire. So if Israel is able to wield this technology in a much more scaled up manner, which they probably will inevitably do so, then we are going to be looking at a completely asymmetrical warfare into the future for this region. And the placement of such an air defense system on the southern border could be considered both simple yet brilliant, as Hamas rockets, by and large, have to pass through this particular airspace. I'll zoom right in for that one. So this airspace around here, which is long before they get a chance to reach their end or projected terminal phase, location or address onto a town or a city. So that's it for today, guys. Just a quick video, but thanks again for watching, hanging around, and I do hope to see all of you guys there in the next one. Cheers.